Stitchroadies. Thank you for stopping by. A little different perspective because I wanted to show a couple of quilts and I want to be able to hold them up. So you're looking at a different direction in the beehive. So behind me is my design wall, which has the gnomes on it, and my little hexie station is in the old desk, and then the cabinet behind me here is my crafting and hand applique supplies. So I have a little bit, I've designated different little stations. It helps me find stuff when I'm looking for it, if I can put it back into a location that works for me. Well, again, thank you for stopping by. If you're new, welcome, welcome. This is a community of very informative, kind people who have a wealth of knowledge. And boy, don't we all need that and love to share what we know. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the comments and how many things I've learned, not only on a personal level, but on a quilting level also, so I very much appreciate it. If you haven't already, double check that you are subscribed, and it will say subscribed on the button, and check the bell, because then you will get a notification of when I upload another video, which is important when I do giveaways. And boy, I'm biting, I know. I'm biting at the bit to do the next giveaway with Fat Quarter Shop, but I'm waiting for that package to arrive, and we know how things are right now, because I really am anxious to make that table runner. So hang tight. We will have a gift card giveaway soon. I'm suspecting that it'll arrive today or tomorrow. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but I'm like shocked when I see the mailman running around on a Sunday, but G tells me they're just delivering packages, and I forgot that it was President's Day this week. That like totally flew over the top of my head. And I am grateful for my life, and I hope you are also, for all the ups and downs. I am grateful for that. The world is a little bit tipped on its axis, and thank goodness, because stitching, like, it's like a meditation, isn't it? It's I'm not quite sure what it is about stitching, but I'm even liking the hand binding. I'm still working on this mammoth quilt, tacking the binding. I have one side done, and but I've been just distracted by other things. I almost have my March buttermilk basin home circle done, and really just have to do the blanket stitch around the outside edge, and then we'll be ready for March. But yes, I am appreciative of, because, you know, it's just kind of, we're just so blessed. There's more blessings than not. There's more blessings than not. So I can deal with the aggravation sometimes that I feel about little stuff. You know, all you have to do is drive in traffic these days, and you can tell the level of people's agitation. But I did do some shopping with the So Yeah brothers, and I will put that link down below. And if you do not know about them, they are a shop in Las Vegas, and they do a twice weekly YouTube shop where you go online and you buy stuff as they show it, and so it's in real time. Yes, it's not as perfect as getting to go into a quilt shop and feel and see the fabric, but it is, to me, like that in-between step where you can kind of see it, and they the way they move that you can see the print or the color, and it's quite a community that shows up there twice a week. I am going to say, do not blame me if you get addicted to it, because if it wasn't that the show was during our happy hour dinner, I would be on there all the time. It's just that much fun because the community talks to each other. So first, let me show you what I got, okay? When I made this gnome quilt over here, I realized that it was missing a piece of fabric. It was missing the backing out of the package, and I reread the pattern to make sure that that wasn't something that was supposed to be extra. And no, the pattern, it sounded like it was supposed to come with the whole pack. And so I called up the shop and I talked to Emily and I told her, you know, the backing was not in my kit. And no problem. Customer service is spot on. Spot on. No problem. We'll send it with your next package. With your next package. Did you hear that big sigh? It was a sigh of satisfaction and a sigh of, oh my gosh. So I had been on one of their destashing shows, and it's very easy just to buy because it's like being, I remember that years ago in Bend, Oregon, the Fred Meyers in Bend, before Christmas would have a sock sale, and you would think, socks, really? Is that going to make you go out early in the morning? But yeah, that drew people all over. And these D-Stash shows are on Tuesday and Saturday, and it's just entertaining. It's just entertaining. And so I bought some 1-yard packs, and I'm pretty at this point in my collecting life, I'm not necessarily buying how do I explain this? It's I have to have some vision for the fabric I'm buying. And since it was February and it was Valentine's Day, and they had this adorable packet, and I have some girls in my family, and I just thought it was so beautiful that I bought this 1-yard pack. I'll do it like Brody does it. You know, so this 1-yard pack of all of this heart, just really sweet heart fabric. And then the other pieces that I bought were neutrals, because you can always use neutrals. And so this was 1 pack of neutrals. They are 1-yard cuts. Just a real wonderful kind of background fabrics and stuff. I hope that shows up pretty well on the camera. And then this I love, because I love fabric with words. And so it's this one has the words in kind of a blue color on a off-white background, little tiny dots and little bubbles. So that's the packs that I got. Oh, and this is the backing fabric, and I knew I wanted this backing fabric because look at it. It's gnomes. Gnomes on blue with hearts and bees. So I was really happy when that arrived, tucked in the bottom of my package. And I also got, I'm part of their box of the month. Thanks to my fabric stalker friend on the other side of the mountain, Cakers. She was on the site at the same time I was one day, and she was texting me and saying, aren't you going to get a box of the month? I did, and you know how you feel like you're missing out. So the box comes in this cute, no, it's just a cardboard box, but what can I say? It's just it's nice. And in the box, there are some stickers, some instructions, some download information, tissue paper, and then there's always these 1-yard cuts of, I think this feels almost like more than a yard, but, and this one here is it has a very, very faint pink, yellow, and blue on a beige background, or a fill thread, and then a pack of these Frixion pens. So it's like getting a little birthday gift every month. Oh, that's what I told G, huh? Oh, your birthday, oh, that was for the Sea Fargo. Yeah, I told G he was getting me monthly gifts for this year. It's been quite a week. We've had some busy family things going on, and so that's been keeping us quite on our toes and pretty busy. But I've been trying to keep up with my stitching, even if it's a little here or there. I did take some time out yesterday and went and stitched at a friend's house. Her name is Cheryl, and her sister Colleen. Cheryl and Colleen. Colleen lives up in Washington, along with, there were 3 of us that live here in Oregon, and 2 live up in Washington. And the 2 in Washington came down, and we had a stitch day. It was awesome. It was just awesome to laugh and carry on and stuff. And we are what's called, if you're not familiar with that, we're Flosstubers, which means that we have a YouTube channel in the cross-stitch platform on YouTube. So whereas this is predominantly my quilting platform, I have Stitchroadies, which is my cross-stitch platform. And so I was hanging out with my Flosstuber friends. But both, I can say now that Colleen and Cheryl, who are stitching with the Sisterlies on Flosstube, are also quilters. And so where we were stitching and meeting together was it looked like a fabric store, because she wraps her fabric on those cardboards, and so they're standing nice and neat, not like me that I pile them in a stack. And so she can kind of see everything that she has. And Becca, who is SamBrie Stitches on Flosstube, made her first quilt and was bringing it down for Cheryl to long arm, because Cheryl is a long arm quilter also. And she made a charm pack quilt for her husband, and we were all just so proud, because don't we love it when someone enjoys and completes a project in the genre that we love? You know, we love company, what can I say? And oh, let me just get and show you this. So Cheryl has a ton of fabric. I mean, like bolts of fabric, and her I think it was her cutting table had a skirt all the way around it, and I loved the fabric. And I said, where did you get that fabric? And she said, do you want some? I have bolts of it. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so I said, yeah. And she says, well, how much do you want? And I didn't want to be a pig. But she had 3 bolts. I said, why do you have 3 bolts of this fabric? And she said, I was going to make curtains, and then I changed my mind. And so I said, well, I'll take a ½ a yard. And then her sister Colleen said, give her a yard. That's who you want to shop with, Colleen. But look at this fabric. It's chickens with roses, and it has script on the background fabric. It's just gorgeous. I haven't quite figured out what I plan to do with it, but it's kind of one of those fabrics that you want to own because it's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. So that was fun. That was fun having Colleen tell her, give her a yard, give her a yard. Yeah. And Cheryl's so generous. She's so generous. Stitching with the Sisterlies, I was in a, what do you call that? Well, it's like the relationship we have on the other side of the camera. I was in relationship with Colleen before they were stitching with the Sisterlies. And when I lived on the other side of the mountain, she had sent me a quilt, which blew me away, because you know as quilters that when someone gives you something that's handmade, you really appreciate it because you know what went into it. You know the work that went into it. And I was blown away. And so then I didn't actually meet her till years later at the cross stitch shop, Acorns and Threads. And then it took me a while for my brain to connect the dots that quilt was made by Colleen. So let me just show it to you. It's scalloped edged. Isn't that adorable? And you see they're all bees. Something about bees. I tell you, it was awesome, awesome. And then here we are years later, friends and in community on Flosstube with cross stitching, which is a total different genre. Yeah, it's a totally different genre. So I was digging through my quilt piles, and I really needed to figure out what I wanted to hang in my entryway. I have a quilt rack that's above a church pew that I hang a wall hanging sized quilt, and what's up there now is a snowman quilt, although it was so appropriate today because today actually 3 friends were coming over to stitch together, and that would be Stitching with the Sisterlies and Stitchy Witch 42, which are 2 floss tubes. And I woke up this morning and we were like covered in snow. So I'm like, okay, well I guess that's not going to happen because we live on a giant big hill. And so getting up to us requires, if it's icy, it requires just kind of pedal, this kind of driving, you have to be a strong driver, and then to walk up to my house is not the easiest thing. So that got canceled. Disappointing, yes, but you want your friends to stay safe. And it looks like it's starting to melt off pretty quick, but you know, it just wasn't meant to be. But where was I? Oh, so I have this snowman quilt hanging in the entryway, which was appropriate for today, but we're heading to spring. Spring is right around the corner, and I was trying to decide what I was going to hang off of my quilt rack in the entryway of my house, and I found a quilt that I made that I absolutely loved. And it just, part of this, I know that I'm kind of going on and on here, but I loved a shop that used to be in West Lynn, and this shop was where, Holly Hills, was where I got this pattern and kit and made this quilt. And I quilted it myself. It's, I think I quilted it myself. Sometimes it looks like something I had done, but let me show it to you, okay? But what I have to do is, it doesn't have a hanger, you know, a sleeve or loops in the back to hang, to put the wood through on the quilt hanger. So I need to today to stitch that on the back so I can hang it up in my entryway. But I chose this quilt because of the name of the pattern. It was called Chubby Chicks. And since I'm chubby, I said I have to make this. Isn't that adorable? I don't remember who the designer is, but I don't think I quilted this, but I just love it. I just love it. So today's project is to make a sleeve for the back so it can hang in my entryway during the summer. I mean, during the spring. Chubby Chicks. And it is, it's fused on there, and then I hand embroidered the feet. Yeah, so I think my friend Sandy might have, down in Bend, might have quilted that, because it looks a little beyond my expertise. I don't know if many of you follow on Stitchroadies, but if you do, please subscribe. On Stitchroadies, one of the things that I implemented this year as a way to encourage myself was to give myself stars. So I have a journal, and I have all my cross-stitch projects listed in the journal, and anytime I work on one, I give myself a star. It kind of gives me a kind of a handful of information. It gives me a snapshot, quick view of which projects are drawing my attention, and it also is, I can't explain it, I love getting stars. I am totally about the stars. I never received stars in my grammar school years. I wasn't that kind of student. And so giving myself stars is, it really has been a game changer in switching the conversation in my head, because instead of having those conversations of why am I so disorganized, why am I such a procrastinator, why can't I get something, I don't need to start another thing, I wish I hadn't bought that. You know what I'm talking about, or at least some of you do. Instead of all that conversation, the conversation that transcends all of it is, oh my gosh, look at the stars. You are a rock star. Oh my gosh, aren't you just so much? You are much. So I thought to myself, self, what's to keep you from using the star system with your new block of the month? Now, I do not want to use the star system with all of the projects I have in this quilting room that are ongoing, because I would need a Bible-thick book. But I said, let's start small. You've not been as prolific or as up-to-date with your blocks of the month. So to help yourself, why don't you implement a star system for your 2022 block of the month? Because I signed up for Sue Spargo's Trade Winds. And although I can't share those blocks on this format, because they can't be shared until the book is published, and that usually takes a year. But people who have signed up for them will be able to share them on a private Facebook group. But I have, and I will continue to share the wool and the threads that I get, because it's a different genre than I normally would get. And I encourage you that block of the months are a nice way to go, especially for a beginning wool person who wants to accumulate some wool, but it's expensive. And if you're allergic to wool, you can use flannel. But back to the stars. So the block of the month that I signed up for through SueSpargo.com was Trade Winds. It is all ocean themed. And she encourages you to put a pattern into sleeves. When you get them, put the pattern into plastic sleeves in a binder to keep yourself organized, which is the way to go. And so I took my binder, and this is my binder, and I slipped a page into the front cover, see, and then the name Trade Winds, and I got a really cute octopus sticker that I found in my book, and I started giving myself stars. I pull the sheet out. Every day that I work on that, I give myself a star. Game changer. Game changer. I am all about the stars. And I want more, you see. I want more. And this binder fits in my, the bag I'm using right now for my block of the month is my Maxi Yazzie bag, which I'm going to embellish. I don't want to embellish it with the theme of the block of the month, because I have 2 or 3 Sue Spargo blocks of the months, and I have some Sashiko block of them. So I want to decorate it with a across the board embellishment, so that this bag can house like all of when I have a lot of wool stuff going. But yeah, my Maxi bag is the go-to bag right now for my Sue Spargo 2022 Trade Winds. Yeah, And you know, right now doing anything mail order is a challenge, so everyone's had to learn patience in this new world we live in, but yeah, it's better than what's going out there. So, like I said, we have been quite busy. I changed doctors. I had some medical things that I had to take care of, and so I went into a new doctor. She was the only doctor that could see me physically, and I just wanted to be seen physically. I was kind of over at this point. At least I wanted to, at least once a year, actually have someone see me in person and not do the video thing. And so I had my whole list since the doctor was trapped in the room with me. Everything I wanted to ask, I had my list. And she was absolutely lovely. She went through my whole chart and asked me questions and took out things that were in there that I don't know how they got in there. Kind of cleaned up my chart, and I felt a huge sense of relief that there was a connection. And one of the things I asked her about, which was quite funny, was that my face was like breaking out and kind of, it just looked like I was turning into a mushroom person. And she said that I had a mild case of rosacea. I'd never heard that before. And so I want to see a dermatologist. And she said, well, first let's try this medication. So she prescribed some topical medication for this. And being who I am, and by that I mean I need all the details. Not that I retain those details, but I need all the details. After the medication was sent to me, I was reading, you know, the flyer that comes to it that nobody wants to read, because not only is it just a whole bunch of stuff, but all of it sounds scary. But I had to tell you this. This is hysterical. So I'm reading this. It's at night. We're going to bed, and I'm reading this in the bathroom. And then I come out, and G's laying in bed, and I said, listen to this. And I say, I tell her, not tell her, I'm reading this to him. Stay with me, okay? This medicine has shown evidence of carcinogenic activity in a number of studies involving chronic oral administration in mice and rats, but not in the studies involving hamsters. And so G looks up at me and he goes, well, you are more like a hamster. You're kind of busy running on a wheel all the time. I would say you don't have anything to worry about. And so we laughed and laughed because, I mean, really, do you ever read those things? That's just the craziest things ever. Just the craziest things ever. So I hope by the next time we meet, we shall be able to have a great giveaway from the Fat Quarter Shop, huh? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And I hope that you all are remaining emotionally content, grateful that we are here, that we have stitching to distract ourselves, and we have this camaraderie and community that is so supportive. Well, you guys all take care. I love you guys. I can't wait till the next time. Take care.